I'm John Nystuen, and the chairman of the Board of Trustees of Community System Foundation, and this is actually our 10th meeting in this room, I believe. This room is the Bill Drake room, and you should go read the plaque when you get a chance to see why we happen to be here. So now today we're going to have a session in the morning, a open session, and this includes lunch. We're going to break, and we're going to continue our discussion during the lunch. So you have to prepare to do that. We'll do that down in the Ford Commons, and then the Board of Trustees will meet in the afternoon back in this room. So that's my introduction.
Okay, and thus you will see on the program that you have in your seat two separated pieces of paper. The general program and the forum topics.
And
separate.
This is Sandra.
I'm Sandra Arlinghaus. I'm on the executive committee of CSF. I serve as the secretary to the Board of Trustees and webmaster. I would like now to introduce the Dean of the School of Natural Resources and Environment, Lynn, Miranda. Welcome. To give us a kickoff.
Good day for a kickoff, right?
Right.
So, I'm Miranda. I'm the still relatively new Dean of the School of Natural Resources and Environment. I started on January 1st. I always say that you only get to say that you're new for a year. So I have, maybe 6 more weeks of saying that I'm a relatively new Dean. So thanks very much, Sandy, and for inviting me here. And it's good to see you again, John. It's my pleasure to welcome you to this building, which is named for our first dean, Samuel Trask Dana, and more specifically to the Drake Memorial Room, which is named for William D. Drake, who, like Samuel Trask Dana, is a former SNRE professor. And I'm sure all of you know that William Drake was the founder and the president of this organization for many, many years. To honor his legacy, the members of this group actually provided the funds for us to name the room after him. And they picked this particular room because it was one of Professor Drake's favorite rooms in the Dana building. I have to say, I never had the opportunity to meet Professor Drake, but I share something with him in that this is one of my favorite rooms as well. And one of the reasons there are many reasons why it's one of my favorite rooms. One reason that it's one of my favorite rooms is that this is the place that I come into community with my entire faculty on a regular basis, and that's always a really positive and exciting thing for me. The other thing that I really like about this room is that this is a place where we don't just talk the talk about living sustainably, we walk the walk about living sustainably. So as you look around you, what you'll find is that all of the carpets are wool. Wool is a natural fire retardant, so we don't have to treat any of the carpets with fire retardant chemicals. All the furniture you're sitting in is made from renewable materials. The brick that you have on that wall right there is actually recovered brick from when we did the infill development of the Dana buildings. It was originally in a quadrangle, and when we ran out of space, instead of saying, oh, we'll knock down the building and build something different, or we'll go somewhere else, we did an infill development into the middle of that, the building, and this brick right here on this wall is actually recovered brick from that process. My very favorite thing about this room are the acoustic tiles up here. I don't know, does anybody know what these acoustic tiles are made of? They're acoustic tiles that are made from a rapidly renewable resource. They're made from sunflower seeds.
Oh, wow.
So there are so many things to love about this room, and I feel that sense of kinship with Professor Drake. As a new dean here, I feel like I'm still discovering many of the treasures associated with SNRE. And I have to say, the more I learn about the Community Systems Foundation, the more I think of that as a treasure. I'm a little bit biased for those of you who don't know anything about my research background. My research background is that I take very large databases, geographically reference them, link those databases together via shared geography, and then use these large spatially referenced databases to address, to try to directly address policy problems. Most of them are geared towards issues of children's environmental health, working particularly in disadvantaged communities, both nationally and internationally. So much of the work that you're doing within the Community Systems Foundations is so mission consistent with my own, how I believe that the Academy should be using its incredible resources to address the world's problem, and I really love that about your foundation. So I hope that you'll get a chance while you're here to explore the building a little bit. There's a lot of signage up about our sustainable living practices here, and I'll just say I regret that this is actually a very busy day. It turns out that football games are a really big deal. It's a funny story. When I was being recruited for this job, at the very end of this, sweet talking, the provost says to me, and as part of your deanship, you'll have access to 2 football tickets. And I came here from Duke. And I looked at him and I said, oh, that's great. Do I have access to basketball tickets too? And the provost looked at me completely flummoxed and said, I don't know. No one has ever asked for basketball. So, but I do have basketball tickets. Anyway, there's a football game today, and actually I have a long plan. My entire research group, which is in 4 different locations on 2 different continents, is all in town for a strategic planning retreat. So I'm kind of torn between those things. So I regret I won't be able to spend much time with you this morning. But welcome to the University of Michigan, welcome to the School of Natural Resources and Environment, and welcome to the data building, and welcome to the William Gregg Room. We're so really happy that all of you are here to take advantage of this room, which we think of as a community resource, and which makes us think fondly of the Community Systems Foundation every time we come in here. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next, I'll take a few minutes and update you on a few materials. Those of you who come to these on a regular basis have no doubt seen the CSF website. Keep in mind there are 2 websites. There's the active CSF website that Chris maintains, and there's the csfnet.org archive. I changed the superficial appearance of the archive to match with the new program heading that we have. And so this is how the first layer of csfnet.org comes up these days. And if you click on, well, if you scroll down a bit, you will see part of the program that you have. And if you click on publications, that page also conforms to the new format. And because there are so many documents on the page, I put a display of years with anchors farther down. So click on a year, and it takes you down to that year. You can, of course, scroll up and down to see the years, adjacent years in time, and then just use the back button on your browser to go back. So, if you are already fans of csfnet.org, and I certainly hope you are, I hope you like this even better. And if you have materials for me to put on it, just send them to me. If you find errors, please tell me. If you have ideas, please tell me.
What if I have a question?
Ask it. What's your question?
What are the white dots on the map?
The white dots on the map are CSF locations.
No. That's what I do.
Yeah, and you have a list of them on your handout.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you. Also, in previous years, I put up a couple of PowerPoints. The first one showing the Csf Research Associates. I would encourage you, this is attached to our archive website. I would encourage you to look through it in detail. For now, I will put up the names of them. Kathy Antonakos, she wanted to be here today. She hasn't made it yet. Chuck Drake. Wave, Chuck. And Chuck is the son of Bill Drake, for whom the room is named, and the Drake plaque over there on the wall. Jeff Kupperman. Matt Nod is not here. Roger Rayle. Jeff Stansler. Oh. And Ed Vandervelde. I thought he was coming. No, maybe later. Also, we have, over a period of years, a program of interns. And we have both honorary interns and paid interns. I'll leave it to you to imagine what honorary means. And again, they're a fascinating set of people, as are the research associates. And here, just in the interest of time, is a list. The paid interns, Lucas Winkler Prince, there's Antoinette, George Taylor Corbett in the Delhi office, Stacy Popoff in Chicago, John Toner in New York, Heidi Izagiri, Ann Arbor, did I say it correctly? Yes. Thank you. Candy Casavalian Formson, and that's the set of paid interns, and I'll leave it to you. I've read these off many times in the past, and I will leave it to you to read them for yourself this year, in the interest of time. So, questions, comments, or you can ask me later, or you can email me. Let's proceed.
Sandy,
Yes,
let Bart make the announcement.
okay,
Okay,
sure.
this is real quick because I want to introduce a couple of people or mention their names. This is the 49th year of Community Systems Foundation. That means next year is the 50th. And the 50th will be the 50th celebration, anniversary celebration that's being planned. And a committee of the board was set up that includes Fred, and Chris, and John, and Kathy Huss, and who did I forget? Oh, and I'm the chairman of that committee for the 50th, trying to plan it for next year. I think that almost all of the members of that committee, maybe not all, think that in addition to celebrating the past 50 years, we need to look forward and say, what's the future look like? It's an opportunity to do that, which I think is really important and that we shouldn't throw away. Now, so that we're trying to, what are we trying to do? Well, one of the things we're doing about the past 50 is we're writing a history. And I want to be sure to introduce to you Karen Schwartz, who is here, and there she is, and is a journalist out of New York, and but grew up in these parts, southern Michigan, and is retained to write the history, and she may be interviewing numerous ones of you. I think she's talked to some on the phone, and so I want to be sure that you know. We're also looking at some kind of possible panel and discussions and so on that would create, looking to the future, and where CSF might go. And not only to do that, but to try to create a synchronous and anti-synchronous video of that activity. And Roger Rayle may be working on that, as well as people from within CSF that have been doing that over the years. And so that will be another thing that we're going to try and do. One of the things that I've been trying to do is make Sandy's work harder by, we got a list of all that we could remember of people that had worked for CSF, either as staff now or ex-associates and ex-staff and ex-trustees and so on. And that list is pretty long. That's up over 250. And trying to find those. These are from long ago, many of them. And unfortunately, some of these people are deceased, and it's pretty hard. And I think we've got, I don't know, maybe 50 of them. A lot to go, and that's tough work. And to the extent that we can find those and have them involved and I think reconnect, and it's amazing what some of these people are doing. One guy that worked in Maryland Hospitals is now running a cattle ranch in Wyoming, for heaven's sakes. And, you know, just very interesting and different sorts of things. So that's been pretty interesting, and I think that may provide some opportunities. And some of these people, I think, as I've talked to them on the phone, I say, wow, that's really neat, and what you're doing now is really neat. And I think there's some opportunities there as we begin to reconnect with those people. And I look forward to it, because I think it's going to be an asset for us. Of course, that makes Sandy's list longer, and she keeps saying, yeah, but sometimes these things don't work right. We send them out, and they come back and say, no longer exists, you know, this email. So we're working on it. Anyway, if any of you have any suggestions or comments, please see me or one of the members, talk to the members in this planning committee, and because we're in the midst of this and it's pretty exciting. Thanks.